Pegasus Podcast, presented by Night Sports Now. UCF news, views, and a few hot takes. Now, here are your hosts, Bailey Go Knights Adams and Christian Charge On Simmons.
Welcome into episode 266. Be sure you're following us on Twitter at BaileyJAdams22, at ByCASimmons, at Night Sports Now, and at Pegasus Podcast. You can also email us at PegasusPodcast@ksn@gmail.com. I'm fearing for what this podcast might bring. We were just talking about, like, I'm actually, I didn't tell you this part, but like, I'm still very tired just from draft coverage and hours of our live show from Thursday to Saturday. And my voice, I didn't realize it until I started doing the intro, but my voice started like feeling weak already. So we'll get through it. But how are you?
Doing well. I can tell you're tired because this was you from days ago. I mean,
that was literally in March.
Oh, is that really? I thought that was from this.
No, you've done messed up. That was from
So I've put a photo up of Bailey working hard. This is the coolest you've ever looked in a photo, except for that one I took of you in college where you were talking on the phone.
Yeah, that was from the combine. We had one of our photographers was there with us, and he was taking pictures of the prospects, obviously, but then he also just took some pictures of us, and that was one I came.
You look like you're making a pick. Like you look like it is your responsibility, the future of a franchise.
I'm probably not doing anything. I'm probably just looking at Twitter. That's the reality of that.
You're probably doom scrolling UCF Twitter, which would be great.
Probably. Yeah. Is that the thing right before the podcast where you're like, wait, I've had an idea, and then?
Yes, that was also just super responsible podcasting. Didn't even put us in the right video to start. So we fixed that now.
Yeah, we're in a good spot already. We are 2 minutes in, and I don't know what's happened.
Once spring ball ends, the quality drops because it's just like we're doing what we can to keep the pods rolling. There's plenty of news to talk about, but it's definitely there
will soon come a day though where there won't be. Like we're about to hit the dog days already. Losing my voice already, but yeah, I mean it's April 28th and spring ball's just ended in the portal. We've got portal stuff to talk about today. We've got the draft to recap, but pretty soon we're going to have to start getting creative again, and it will lead to some nonsense. But
I think we should do one podcast at some point this offseason, maybe in like June or July when there's genuinely nothing and it's just musings, and we just sit here with no topic whatsoever. Like we do no pre-planning and just discuss UCF and see where the conversation goes.
UCF, not just okay. So UCF specific still.
No, it's still like UCF.
Just
not going to
about
be
life
about chicken for dinner tonight. Like we'll be UCF related, but
okay. I mean, we could. Yeah. Let's do it. I like that idea a lot. Actually, it's going to be chaotic, and it might be the worst idea since the stadium survey. But we might do it
about that pod.
We might have to do it. I'm still excited for the one where I found some of our old UCF football predictions from past years, and we're going to revisit those. I have that planned for like early June. So
yeah, I'm not so amped about that one because I went back and looked at what some of mine were.
No, I told you not to do that.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I thought I was like, I want to read them to you on the podcast.
Well, then you're going to love what I'm going to say next because I looked at my first one and quit because my very first one was UCF will still be in the AAC in 5 years. And I saw that and was just out. So, yeah, that's literally all I saw.
Good. Okay. Because that one was fun. That one was funny. And we will talk about that one when we get to that podcast in probably like a month or so. But there's more. And I have some bad ones. I actually don't remember them myself now. So I kind of want to go back and maybe I won't. Maybe I have them written down somewhere. So I'll find them before that podcast and I'll revisit them for the second time. But it'll feel like the first time because I already forgot them.
Here's what I want, and I want to add something to that podcast. As soon as we're done with all the things that we weren't even close to write about, I want us to each end with one new prediction for the next 5 years. Like, let's destroy our credibility and then just throw another bomb out there.
Let's do it. I like it.
All right.
Okay, so we'll start today's show recapping some UCF NFL draft stuff. Obviously, the biggest thing and the thing we'll probably spend the most time on is how awesome it was to see RJ Harvey drafted in the second round, 60th overall by the Broncos. It was I'm just so happy.
I was pissed as hell when it happened. And that has absolutely nothing to do with Harvey being drafted. That was way ahead of like my wildest dreams of where he was going to be taken. I mean, that's huge. Highest pick for UCF player since 2020, I want to say, or 2021. Mm-hmm. Probably should have had that stat ready. I was at a bar playing trivia, and we had to have our phones away because if you haven't played trivia, that's how that works. Is they're very big on that now, since the internet just allows you to cheat on everything. And they had the draft on the TV, and I wasn't even really paying attention to the draft. I just happened to look up right when they were showing Harvey's face, and I was like, the round had just started, and I was like, you cannot be serious. So I got to just feel my phone buzz incessantly for like 15 whole minutes before I got to like experience that with everybody. But so freaking awesome to see him taking that high. So beyond well deserved. And it's just cool and that's the thing about the NFL is like, whatever happens, however bad your team is, whatever conference you're in, like if you're an NFL caliber player, they will find you. And I'm just so happy that for all the BS that Harvey went through of this season being terrible and him just never, ever coming close to getting the respect he deserved for what an incredible player he was. The NFL doesn't care about any of that. The NFL is like, if you're an NFL player, we're taking you. And it was just cool to see that pay off.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And yeah, the highest pick for UCF since 2021 when Richie Grant went 40th overall. It's so cool. Just like, I think he'll have a pretty good shot to, play kind of a good bit of snaps right away, which will be really cool. And it was kind of just cool hearing the praise he was getting because of how bad the last couple seasons have been, especially this past season. He was like the one bright spot and the one bright for that, and seeing him, even during the pre-draft process, get some of that praise and some of the excitement around him. Like I still, even with all the lead up from like the draft community and all that, I thought he might still be like a third rounder at best. And so seeing him go 60th overall, that was amazing. I mean, you asked me on Thursday, you were like, how many rounds do they do tonight? And I was like, 1. And you were like, And then I was like 2 and 3 on Friday, then 4 through 7 on Saturday. And you're like, so RJ will probably go like late Friday, early Saturday, right? And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And then he went, like the middle of Friday. And I was in the middle. I think it might have been like a couple it was a few picks after the Bucks made their pick. So I was like in the middle of writing a story and like had my head down. And then I just hear Bailey. And I was like, what? And they were like, RJ. And I was like, And I stopped doing my job to tweet about it and just get excited about it. So yeah,
I also think this is good for you, right? Because as far as I know, I don't believe you have any positive or negative feeling towards the Broncos. They're just another team that exists. So I think you're good there.
Yeah, and I was thrilled that he didn't go to the NFC South specifically. Thrilled that he isn't in the NFC at all. The Bucks just played the Broncos this past season, so they won't be playing against the Broncos probably for another 3 years.
Is that the way that works?
Enjoy it. Yeah, they do the weird like rotation. Since there's an extra game now, I don't really know how they determine it, but they just throw like a random opponent in for that extra game, the 17th game. But I did say on our draft show the other day, I was like, there is currently an RJ Harvey Broncos jersey on the way to my house. There isn't yet, but there will be at some point, I'm sure.
I texted you earlier today that I can't wait for the day to come, which I fully believe it will, where RJ Harvey's he's rushed for like 1,000 yards in an NFL season, and that'll get people Googling him, and they'll get to go be stunned and confused as to how he was on such a terrible team in college and wondering how that could have happened. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think that, not to relitigate the Gus Malzahn era, because there's June and July for that, but when you get to this point, like, I don't know, it's just seeing him get drafted that high and kind of that, because I understand that we have like UCF fan goggles on a little bit, so you never fully know, but like seeing that validation of he really was as good as we all felt he was, it's like, I mean, he's a top 10 player in program history at worst, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know there were a million factors that go into a college football team being good, but it's just like, how did Gus Malzahn got 3 seasons of a top 10 player in program history, and the offense was anemic for large stretches of time while that was going on?
He really didn't use, like, for one of those seasons, he didn't really use him that much until halfway or 3/4 of the way through the season. Yeah. And then, 2023, the offense was a bit better, but he also didn't have a quarterback for most of it because it was not injury after injury, it was just injury. Yeah. And that just led to ineffectiveness. And then it was quarterback after quarterback this past year, and they just could not find one of their 4 to kind of have any semblance of the passing game. So he found a way to somehow ruin that and not take advantage of having a really, really good, top 2-round running back. I'm just excited.
Let's also call it what it is. They absolutely do not win the TCU game without Harvey. And the Arizona State and Iowa State games are not even competitive without Harvey. So he helped keep alive what would somehow have been even a worse season than what it was.
Even the year before, they don't win the Cincinnati game without him.
Well, that was 2 years ago. Or no,
yeah, I was like
2 different Cincinnati games. They probably don't win without him.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know, that game was magical just in general, but his role in the Oklahoma State space game, like, I don't know if I can say they don't win that game without him because they won it by 42, but he was huge in that game as well. So there's so many, like, I think it was shortly right after we got off the podcast last week, UCF put up like a video. It was like top 10 RJ Harvey touchdowns. And I was like, I wish we could have like watched this live on the podcast somehow because it came out right after, but I've watched that a couple times in the last week or so.
I'd forgotten about some of them. Like I'd forgotten about the Memphis one.
Mm-hmm.
Good video. Good player. Yeah. Excited to, I don't know. I just feel like it's like, since, UCF is really bad at football these days, at athletics these days.
We don't have to get into that. We can later.
I really need Harvey to have a good rookie season because I fear I'm going to need that this fall.
I'll stop making references to our draft show eventually, but at one point somebody asked us, they were like, what are the odds, like the Bucs took a receiver from Ohio State in the first round. They're like, what are the odds he could win offensive rookie of the year? And I was like, well, it's kind of going to be hard for him to win it considering RJ Harvey's going to win it. So like the two people can't win it at once, but and then that led me to look up like what RJ's odds were on Hard Rock already, and I was like, I might have to put a little bit of money down on that.
You joke, but he's legitimately like, it's a good position he's been drafted into.
Yeah.
Like there were far worse situations that we could have been discussing for him right now.
Yeah, no, it is a good spot that he'll contribute right away. It sounds like they're very excited about him. Obviously, they are. He was a second round pick, but I don't know if they've officially decided on a number yet, or if he's officially decided on a number yet, because
I've seen like 3 different versions across a bunch of different graphics.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Is it 24 might be retired for Champ Bailey, and then 7 I think might be in use or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he was 22 here, right? Was he 22 or 24?
Yeah, I don't know, but UCF or somebody had posted like a graphic of him wearing 24, and I was like, that was weird. So I thought that was like what they had settled on, but then I was like, wait, that can't be. I don't know. But yeah, he wore 22 before, so we'll see.
I just have to say that, like, I don't know. I think that, well, I was wondering if what I was going to say was really stupid, but I'll roll with it anyways. Like him, I'm not wrong, right? He wore 22.
Yeah.
Okay. Because 24 in my mind is Kevin Smith's number. So I feel like that would be some really fun discourse if that's his NFL number after the whole running back debate.
Yeah, no, it would be. And of course that debate has come back up, unfortunately, for everyone in existence.
In the course of this podcast, RBJ, who, if you're on UCF Twitter, has tweeted that RJ Harvey is better than Kevin Smith and then quickly deleted the tweet. So I don't know what that one's about, but something.
It was weird because Kevin Smith wore multiple numbers, I think, in the NFL, and I don't think any of them were 24, but obviously he wore 24 at UCF. So
couldn't tell you a number he wore in the NFL.
I just looked it up just because I wasn't sure, and I think I saw a picture of him in 34 at one point, and then a picture of him in 30 at one point. So I don't know what the reason was for that, but
I think one of my like places where I go on my own path for most sports fans is I don't really care what number any of the players wear, and I know for a lot of people that's like a big thing, a big discussion.
I'd care a lot, but do you not care at all? Like you don't have any thoughts on the Packers first round pick wearing number 22, who's a wide receiver?
So that's different because I like unusual numbers will catch my attention, but like when people do the whole like, oh my God, it's going to be like so weird to see him in this number or something, or like, wow, he changed numbers. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't move me that way. It confuses me occasionally. Yeah. Like we've had some UCF ones the past few years that like a really random number change that just catches me off guard for an entire season. But
as a kid, like that was one of my like weird sports fan things. Like I would know, and I think I've held on to it to an extent. Like the teams that I follow and care about, like I don't know if I know them as well as I used to, but as a kid, like you could ask me any player's number on a certain, like on my teams, or usually most teams, like any well-known player, and I would know it, but I don't know if I'm as good as I used to be.
Can you tell me right now the numbers of any of UCF's quarterbacks for the 2025 season?
I think Taven's wearing 2.
That's the only one I know. I know Taven wears number 2.
Jakari's 11, I think, still.
Right. He's 11. What's Cam? 4?
Bancher, huh?
Is he 4?
I think he might be 14.
14. I was close.
Is that right?
I'm going to look it up.
I know there was a weird thing where I think it was like, what was his name? Brock Hansel, like one of the fifth quarterbacks or whatever.
Yes.
He was wearing like 26 for a while, I think, which I always thought was stupid.
Cam Fancher is 14.
And then I think Brock changed his number.
I will say, and maybe you can help me out on who this was. I say that I don't care about the numbers. Richie Grant wore 27 when he was at UCF. I'm not sure if you know that. And I don't remember who, but after he left, some other DB wore 27, and he just was Richie Grant to me. Like,
you've done this. You've done this quite a bit. Yes.
I've done this quite a bit. What do you mean?
I think you had done that to another person too. I don't remember who it was. But there was
because when it's the same position, like a year later, I just in my head, like I remember being like, "Oh, nice play by Richie," and I'm like, "Well, that's just not Richie. He's in the NFL." I don't remember who it was though.
I can't remember who else. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, really quickly, and then we'll move on because I did not expect us to do 16 minutes on RJ Harvey and random numbers. But who took Harvey's number? Who's
right
7
now?
now? Yeah, who's 7 now? Do you know?
I don't. I thought you just had the roster pulled up.
Is
Antoine Jackson number 7 on defense?
Antoine Jackson is number 7 on defense, and he's back next year, and we're thrilled.
I would imagine there's not a 7 on offense right now,
but there is, Bailey.
There
is a 7 on offense.
Oh, is it a receiver?
It is a receiver.
I don't know who it is. Is it DJ Black?
It is not. It is Dwayne Thomas.
Dwayne Thomas.
So
okay,
that's good. That won't bother me because it's not a. I mean, I don't know. I might be like, why is Harvey
if it was a running back
or something? But like, yeah, like I don't. We'll be okay. It's a running back.
So you would be like, you would be in hell if you like paid attention to the LSU like lineage of number 7 and number 18 because a lot of times number 7.
Oh right,
they do like they like pass it on and it was like Patrick Peterson obviously and then like it's Tyrann Mathieu. It's going on forever and they always not always but usually play like similar positions. Whether it's running back or DB. So
I find things like that stupid. And I'm sorry if there's some like, I don't know if like that's because someone died or something and I'm being offensive, but I find it really dumb when teams do the whole like this is a number that you have to earn and all that stuff. I don't like when teams retire college numbers. That's not a shot at the whole Shedeur Travis Hunter thing. I just genuinely think it's stupid when no one can be there for more than 4 years and rarely contributes for more than 2 years. The only number one that really like messed with me as far as like I wasn't sure if I was okay with it was when he who must not be named wore Milton's number. That was the only time that I was like, that feels a little weird, but I don't know.
And then as soon as that guy left, Dylan Risk wore it.
Immediately took, and I was just like, I guess 10 is just, I don't know. Like that was the only time I ever was close to like looks genuinely
It's
wrong.
too central of a quarterback number to not like for someone to not come in and wear it. But away it was.
Gabriel set a really good expectation for just trying to one up the number and being like, I'll be 11. And I was hoping that would just continue on.
Well, okay, I don't want to spend more time on numbers. I was just going to ask you a question that you probably weren't going to have an answer to because you say you don't care about numbers. So
okay, ask me really quickly and then we'll move on.
What's the best quarterback number?
1. 2.
We were talking. I think we were talking about this like the other day. Somebody was, and we were saying like across sports, is there a number that's like the best number? Because like certain sports, you'd say like okay, basketball like 23 is obviously one that like is iconic, but like.
It's so damn stupid that the 2 greatest players of all time both wore 23. Like that's a real knock on basketball.
Well, one of them wore 6'2". Didn't Jordan also wear 45 or something like that?
When he came back after he retired.
I think he wore that in baseball too.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing. Because I think someone on the Bull. Okay, we're done. Let's move on.
All right, we're moving on. That was day 2 of the draft. On day 3, Mac McWilliams went in the 5th round. 145th overall to the Eagles. So I think he's also going to a very good situation considering how good that secondary is and the fact that they just won a Super Bowl. I say that and now I'm questioning myself and wondering, okay, he's a 5th rounder. They've got a good secondary. Is he going to be able to stick on the roster? But I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson used to play in the slot for them and Mac McWilliams is more comfortable in the slot. So I think he has a pathway and that would be nice if he can stick and stay on that team too.
And that's where I'll defer to your expertise on this strange thing that is the NFL that I don't fully understand or care about is like, I've never understood what's the round where it no longer matters they got drafted. You know what I mean? Like, is that, like, does that make sense? The question I'm asking?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the team. I mean, I think 5th is like borderline. 6th and 7th rounders, I'd say probably the percentages are significantly low.
Those are more like flyer picks than like he's going to come in and contribute.
Yes, it is a flyer, or it's like, hey, we really like this guy a lot, and we don't want to gamble on him, like on trying to get him as an undrafted free agent because he's going to have his pick of wherever he wants to go. So I think in some cases it's better to be an undrafted free agent than a 7th rounder because some of these guys get like teams will guarantee them more money or give them a bigger signing bonus because they want to make sure they get him over another team.
It's kind of funny
as like a bid. And then seventh rounder like prices or prices, whatever. Seventh rounders are typically set in terms of what their salary is going to be. But yeah, I mean, it just also depends on the team because the Bucks have been drafting well enough to where like their 6th and 7th rounders have most of the time stuck lately.
Right.
And that's even still on a pretty good team. So it just depends on the team.
Yeah. So Mac McWilliams, we can interpret that as like good chance of him getting a shot at an NFL career. This isn't like
I think so.
He's gone after camp or whatever.
Yeah, especially with like kind of the pre-draft and just what people were saying about him and his. I don't know. It's weird for us as UCF people to be like to kind of look at his career, his 1 year at UCF, and especially with the context that like he's more comfortable playing in the slot. They didn't really play him in the slot; they played him outside. So like I don't think he was bad for UCF last year. I just don't really remember much of anything he did.
Yeah.
And so now it's just funny to be like, oh, he's a 5th round pick and he's like got a really good chance to take the slot position not from somebody, but take a slot position on the defending Super Bowl champions after like a year where UCF kind of just wasted him considering what his best attributes are. It's weird.
Oh man. Yeah, that's really cool. I love watching a team have they had 4 wins and 2 draft picks. That math tracks. Yeah. But then again, I was you know what team tied for the most draft picks of all Big 12 teams this year?
No.
Arizona, who was just terrible.
Oh. Were they really?
Yeah. They had 4.
Wow. I'm trying to remember who I remember McMillan obviously, but I don't remember who else got drafted.
I know that it's not a 1-to-1. Like I know it's not. I mean, like it's a 1-to-1 if you're like Georgia, right? And you have
Ohio
like 30
State
of these
year.
guys. Like like obviously you're going to be good, but because it's like I don't think that like it's an interesting question of like if you replaced Mac McWilliams with a replacement level player on the team this year, is the record different?
I don't think so.
Probably not. So it's like I don't know. I'm not going to I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. It's just interesting all that stuff. Like it's kind of weird because it's just like I'm in a weird space. Like first off, I'm sick of UCF only having good drafts after they've had disappointing seasons. I don't know what that's about. Like they've been on such a not good draft streak, and the last really good one was following 2020 where they had 6 wins and 5 guys drafted. So like I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it's like I don't know. If you're a UCF fan, it's still something to be proud of, right? Even though Mac McWilliams was here for like 9 months.
That's what I was going to say. I always just like it because it's cool to see a guy who played for UCF and obviously represented UCF like on that stage, and UCF kind of gets a little bit of shine of that. And it also, I think, like I was going to bring this up too. I'm glad we stuck on this for a second because I almost forgot to say it. But it is weird, especially like you want to say it helps in recruiting because like you can say, hey, we got this guy to the NFL, blah, blah, blah. I thought about it and went back to look it up. Kalia Davis in 2022 was the last UCF recruit like out of high school to be drafted.
Yeah, we talked about this because no one post Frost has made
right. So like, I think if anything, it almost is more of a recruiting tool in like transfer portal. Like it's they talk to the guys, say like, hey, we've gotten, because obviously 2022 wasn't the last time they had someone drafted. So you say, hey, Javon, even like RJ is weird because he obviously was a transfer, but he was here for 4 years, 3 seasons. Yeah. But still, like out of the portal, we say, hey, we've sent this guy to the draft. Like that should help.
I mean, it's so funny because I just don't know. Like this is a more fundamental college football discussion, but I don't know how much those conversations matter in the NIL era versus just what are you going to pay me to be here next year? I'm sure that a lot of players are still the number one focus is NFL draft potential.
I was gonna say that kind of sucks if that's the case. Like it really is just like.
Well, I don't know how much UCF can use it anyway because it's a new coaching staff. Like because Mac McWilliams to me is a more ideal pitch than RJ Harvey because you're like that's where you could sit down any G5 player right now and say, look at this guy. He was at UAB. We gave him a bigger platform. We sent him to the NFL. Like you can be that for us. Like 1 year type rental guys. Like that's an ideal pitch. I just don't know if it works because the player might be like, yeah, but you didn't like that wasn't you. That was Gus.
Yeah, I think it's less about the staff and more just the exposure aspect of it. Say, hey, like we are, because some of these guys who are transferring from other schools, maybe they aren't necessarily good enough to go start at Florida or go start at Miami or whatever. And you say, listen, like we are a Power 4, we're a Big 12 program in Florida. We play this game on Fox, this, and this. Like we sent this player to the draft after 1 year of not even really playing like on in its big spotlight role for this team.
Yeah.
He was still drafted in the 5th round. And if you're talking to a skill player, you say Javon Baker, RJ Harvey, whatever. And I guess Kobe Hudson to a lesser extent because he didn't get drafted, but they still gave him a good shot, and we can get on to the undrafted free agents. But yeah, I think there's something to it. It's probably not everything, but there's something to it.
It's another thing I'm interested about too, and I don't know how much this weighs in, but like because I was thinking, is it any kind of turnoff where, like, if say that they're using Mac McWilliams as a pitch for a G5 player right now, is it any kind of turnoff that they went 4-8? But then I thought more about it. I'm like, if you're a 1-year rental transfer, do you even really does it register for you at all how the team does? Like, obviously winning is fun and you want to win, but I'm like, I doubt Mac McWilliams is like, he got drafted. I doubt he has any like big regrets about the way things played out for him.
I don't think so, especially when you look like, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. He's like still been kind of around. He was training at UCF and like they interviewed him about like Frost and all that. So like, it doesn't seem like he came in, they went 4-8 and he was like, oh, I don't feel any connection to this program because we were bad. Seems like if anything, his connection grew even more.
But that's what I'm just like sort of getting philosophical now. But that's always an interesting thing to me. I cannot speak today. I don't know why. I apologize to all. But there have been guys who come to you, and I don't like do your own thing, whatever. I'm not judging anyone, but there are guys who will spend 4 years at UCF and will start multiple seasons, and they will go to the NFL or they will graduate, and that's really the last you ever hear of them. And then there will be guys like Mac McWilliams who was here for like 9 months, and the coaching staff that brought him in is not even here anymore. And he is like at UCF, talking about UCF, being interviewed by UCF for content. Like, it's just, it's funny to me, just the sort of differences you see there.
Yeah. Like, even speaking further, like even further into the future, like, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't know if I'm misremembering, correct me. But last season, if you asked any random UCF fan, would they have known like anything about Mac McWilliams or like known who he was or like any points into anything that he did? Like, I don't think that's the case. But now say he sticks with the Eagles or whatever, he latches on somewhere else and he plays in the NFL for even 3, 4, 5 years. Like, people like UCF fans will claim him, be like, oh, look what he's done in the NFL. And everyone's like, oh, well, like what? He only had him for 1 year. Like, no one remembered that year, like the year that he had, because the team sucked pretty much.
And if you're a UAB fan, it's just a bad deal because you're like, what the hell? But one more question really quickly, and then we will get off of NFL talk.
Well, it's UCF. Yeah.
UCF talk.
UCF gets that end of it too.
But one more question. Does any part of your UCF fan brain claim Dillon Gabriel?
See, that's the Mac McWilliams UAB thing. Like, that's what I think.
But this is the flip side of it. Because this is a guy who did not finish his career with UCF.
Yeah, my connection cut off for a second. That's what I was trying to say. Is like, it's that deal where UCF's on that side of it with Dillon Gabriel. I don't remember. Matt Lee didn't get drafted, did he? I think he got signed last year.
I think he did get drafted.
Did he get drafted?
I thought
he might have. I don't know. I know he was at the combine last year because I talked to him. But yeah, I don't know. Dillon Gabriel's such a weird case, right? Because of everybody's feelings about him. Like, nobody can turn around. I don't think anyone can really turn around and claim him, considering the way that everybody's acted about him for the last, 4 years now.
Yeah.
But if it was a different player, like if it was a player who played for UCF for 2-3 seasons or whatever, and then played one somewhere else 1 year, I think it might feel a little different.
Dillon Gabriel is, I think, and maybe I'm way off, but like, he's one of the more fascinating UCF players in history to me, because there's he's one that I feel like we will be talking about in a decade, because it was just such an odd situation of like, it wasn't even like bag chasing. Like, he left before NIL had like become that. It wasn't like Matt Lee, for example, who just, Miami offered him a lot more money, so he went to Miami. That wasn't what Dillon Gabriel just genuinely did not want to be here anymore. And I wonder if his stature among UCF fans will change over time because Gus didn't work out. Like, does Dillon Gabriel leaving just become in the history books as another example of Gus screwing up versus he abandoned UCF? Now, that's not the full story.
Yeah.
And, there was stuff we didn't like about when he was here, but I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to me. It's like, he was kind of weirdly going down as like one of the better quarterbacks in college football history, is kind of how a lot of national people perceive him. And he did spend 3 years here, almost entirely as a starter, but I don't know. It's just a weird one. It's a really weird one.
It hasn't become that yet, though. I don't think, because I've seen UCF posted that picture of him and like congratulated him, And like most of the replies were like, delete this, like stop, delete this.
Yeah, no, the UCF fans still have a pretty visceral reaction, but I'm curious about that.
I don't anymore. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago because I think it was in the Sun's newsletter. Adam had written about it. And it was like, I think it's kind of just time to like let it go. And like, yeah, I don't feel it anymore.
Well, part of it is because, again, he left at the start of this. Like, that was a sort of a new thing for UCF fans to experience. Like, star player leaving. Like, that happens every freaking year now. Like, it's, your best players don't stay. So like it was just so like he was like face of the program and like Mackenzie Milton 2.0. Like it was just such a different. It's so weird because it was 4 years ago, but it was such a different era for college football. So it felt super personal, and UCF fans took it really personally. But it's like by the time he was like on to like his third school, and it's been or fifth if you want to count the ones he committed to, and it's like it's been years, and it's I don't know. Like, do you like? I don't have animosity toward Dylan Gabriel.
No, I don't. Like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
He was really good when he was here. I mean, they didn't really win anything. Like, I think that's what hurts him. Had they won a conference while he was here, I think that changes a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Because, like, people have good memories. I don't think I don't think at this point, which is weird because it was only 4 years ago, it doesn't feel like people really remember how good he was and how insane those offenses were.
No, the 2020 UCF team will just be lost to time because they lost games they shouldn't have, but that offense was absolutely incredible. Like Marlon Williams, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know where we're at on this podcast, but we're fine. Marlon Williams, if he had been able to have that season at a different time for UCF, would be looked at as one of the all-time greats for the program. That was like the most maybe like the singular most insane season from a wide receiver for UCF I'd ever seen. And I don't think the current fan base, like how well known is the name Marlon Williams among current UCF fans?
Not well known enough. Wait, he had like 1,000 yards, right, in like 10 games? Or was he even in 9 games? I don't even know if I don't remember the bowl game at all. But
I don't think he played in the last couple games.
Yeah. The pace he was on that year was, because I remember like at the time trying to like extrapolate it over the course of a full season, and it would have been insane. But I think that's like 8 games.
8 games, he had 71 catches for 1,039 yards and 10 touchdowns.
It's crazy.
It's insane, man.
And I think what's weird about that season, like I think back to that season, we can move on after this, but I think back to that season, and the game that I think about is the 50-49 loss to Memphis. When obviously we remember the Obarski miss and the Quadri Jones reaction and all that, but like we kind of forget that Dylan Gabriel in that game, I think threw for 7 touchdowns or had 7 total touchdowns or something like that. Like
I don't think it was 7, but it was a lot.
6? It was one of the more insane stat lines I think any UCF quarterback has ever had, but no one thinks about it or wants to talk about it because it came in a loss.
On that topic, Marlon Williams in that Memphis game, 13 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, they lost the game.
But yeah.
All right. Anything else before I just run through the undrafted free agents real quick?
Nope. Let's do it.
Okay. Undrafted free agents. BJ Adams went to the Dolphins, so staying in Florida. Ricky Barber to the Commanders. Kobe Hudson to the Panthers. Amari Kite to the Seahawks, and also Jacoby Jones to the Commanders. A couple more rookie camp invites, Penny Boone to the Panthers, and Sheldon Arnold to the Chiefs. So some other guys hoping to stick. I don't know all of the specific situations. Obviously, BJ and Kobe were the ones we were hoping would get drafted. So maybe they'll, depending on the situations they're in, maybe they'll be able to stick at least through training camp and try to get them on the practice squad or something. But we'll see. I'm kind of sad that I wanted at least one more to get drafted.
I know, I did too, but it is what it. Like you said, maybe it's better than for this for them than
probably might have gotten more money.
The transfer portal has warped my mind until he signed completely. I thought Sheldon Arnold was 2 years ago. Did not realize that was this past.
Jacoby Jones too, honestly.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like the portal has just completely messed with my concept of time.
It's a strange thing. Speaking of which, transfer portal updates.
Let's do it.
Kind of a lot to get through here. This is all since our last podcast, I believe. Obviously, when did the portal open officially? Or no, closed officially on Saturday, right?
A couple days ago, yeah.
So this should be it, I believe,
Which,
right?
keep in mind, I think we're in the clear now because it's been a couple days. But historically, the portal closes, but there may still be paperwork that goes through. So like there could be more, but we're 2 days out. So I'm going to knock on wood, but I think we're okay. Yeah,
knocking on wood. But these were the entries over the past week or so. Linebacker Quay Birdsong. Offensive lineman Chase Malamala, wide receiver Casey Stokes, kicker Grant Reddick, which was no surprise after the addition of the new kicker, DB Brandon Jacob, who just was this past cycle, right? Again, speaking of time,
he came here in December.
Yeah. Okay. Brandon Jacob, Traquan Fegans, Cedric Hawkins, both DBs entering the portal. The one that I think, and then Ja'Kai Leftwich, offensive tackle, and then the one that I feel
out here.
Yeah, I feel the saddest about is linebacker Andrew Harris.
Yeah,
that one sucks.
This still is like, and I'm assuming UCF fans really realize this. If it stays like this, that is a perfectly acceptable spring portal window. That is almost entirely guys who probably weren't going to be major factors this year anyway. I'm with you. Andrew Harris is the only one that hurts. It's just another blue chipper who we once felt really great for that didn't pan out entirely. And I think that we'll learn more about what that is based on where he ends up, I think is a fair way to put that. But I don't know. Like, I don't think he was ever going to be like a starter this year. I think we were just hoping that this was going to be a year he catches on and maybe could evolve into that over the course of the season. But obviously that didn't happen. Can I give you my only alarm bell? Go ahead.
Yeah, 1 second. I'll correct myself. Maybe this might be the alarm bell, but the only other one that I say hurts me, and we talked about it last week because of how I felt about him as a prospect, and we saw less of him than we did Andrew Harris. And I think Andrew Harris was literally just special teams. And then this past, like the spring practice we went to, he had the pick 6. But Walt Claire Flynn, we talked about him last week. But
you have rung the alarm bell. Walt Claire Flynn no longer here. We did talk about that last week. What we didn't have last week was where he committed. And that would be to Georgia. I am not going to genuinely weigh in on this until we have seen what happens, but I don't love the look of UCF coaching staff. I don't know if they told him to leave. I'm thinking they more likely just, he realized he was not going to start this year. I don't love UCF thinks Guy is not good enough to play, and he heads out, and program that is known for being the best talent evaluators in all of college football immediately grab him. That has me a little worried. And honestly, let's say that it is that he just wasn't going to, like, maybe it wasn't UCF wanted him gone for a scholarship spot. I doubt that's the case. It probably just he wasn't going to play this year. That's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't UCF, because like you're not going to put a guy out there who you don't think is your best option, especially not in the portal era anymore. And like maybe they would have hoped he would stick around and turn into something down the road, but it's probably way more palatable to be on the bench at Georgia than it is at UCF. So, but I don't know. That one was still just a little
because it was not even like, no, you're not going to start this year. It didn't seem like he was even going to be on the 2 deep.
I told you our access with Sean Clark, he was talking about like centers and he like forgot Walt Claire and had to like be like, oh, and also like, I don't think he was factoring in at all. So, and like I said, I don't think it's going to be like the 2025 national champions Georgia had Walt Claire Flynn starting at center, but it's still just like, I don't know if it gets to like 2026 and he's like an all like SEC.
He was a Georgia guy, right?
They were after him when he was in high school. Yeah, like he's from Georgia. So it's not like a huge I don't know. That was wild. You don't usually see that.
It is, it was weird too, because like if you think about his recruitment, obviously he lands at UCF. The staff that recruited him or the coaches that recruited him are gone. The new coaches clearly didn't have plans for him. So when he enters the portal, I don't know if there's been changes because I'm not like privy to all the inner goings on, but it's like I would imagine a lot of the same people who had tried to recruit him at Georgia were probably just like,
probably
like,
still
we
there.
liked this kid 2 years ago or whatever it was, or a year ago. Let's do it. And so it was probably a familiar thing for him going back home, going to a staff he probably already knew. So it works out for him. And I'm going to be scared to see if that ends up biting.
But really, just let's take a moment really quickly and just celebrate that a spring portal window has come and gone. And I think maybe for the first time ever, no one got poached. No one on this list is a guy who got poached. Someone you needed for 2025 who had got a bag and is headed out. That's an accomplishment. Don't know why that's the case. Maybe all the money it took to make that the case is why some of these guys we're about to talk about are the guys coming to UCF in the spring portal window, but that's a celebration point for sure. Yeah.
The other one that I just want to mention real quick before we talk about the additions through the portal was we'd known, obviously, was it even last week or the week before, Dylan Risk was gone into the portal. He is committed to Stanford. So that one surprised me a little bit. So I don't know. Is it weird that, like, I know he played 4 games for UCF, but and you know that I do this every year because I send it to you, is the viewing guide for college football that I put together. I feel like I'm going to put Stanford games on there just because I'm going to want to watch, if he ends up winning the job, I guess. I'm going to want to watch Dylan Risk play for Stanford, which will be that's a weird sentence to say and a weird thing to think about. But he kind of won this with getting a Stanford education too.
Yeah, I definitely, my Dylan Risk FCS quarterback take had a moment of return and was immediately snuffed out because he goes to an ACC school instead. But yeah, I don't know, because I did see more than a few tweets of people like, oh, I'd do that for a Stanford degree too. Do you think he's going to finish his career at Stanford?
I would think, I don't know, maybe not, but if I were him, I would.
I would too, but also it's not always the athlete's choice anymore either.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I say, because even if it does, like, if it doesn't work out for him, like to be the starter, if he can at least stick around as the backup, like,
yeah.
What's more valuable, sticking around as a backup or a third guy and just being in the room and getting a Stanford education, or transferring to a third school to maybe play?
But the thing you have to understand is, like, you were not a collegiate athlete.
Correct.
And part of the reason you were not is because the ones who do become collegiate athletes have this intense drive to like play and excel at all costs. So like, I'm hearing this and I'm like, if I could be a backup quarterback and go to Stanford for free, sign me the hell up right now. Like, I'm there. But I feel like for most guys who make it to college, that is not the mindset. It's like he will get that degree if he plays there, or who knows, maybe like, I don't know. I just feel like there's no way he finishes his career there, because he'll either not do well and not play there and go somewhere else, or he'll do well and then he'll get a bigger bag from some other schools, and Stanford doesn't do a lot of NIL stuff and he'll go there.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right.
UCF bringing back Dylan Risk to start in 2026 is going to be crazy. The Risk EJ Colson battle for 2026 will be unbelievable.
I forgot. I know we talked about it last week, but I forgot that EJ Colson's back in the portal.
Yeah.
That's I had said on this podcast, like, I wish that he wouldn't have been the one like they let get away. Obviously, they didn't let him get away. This staff didn't, right. But like, it would have been nice to have him in this competition. And I guess technically they could have him in the competition if they wanted to. But now that he's, already skipped out on Purdue after being there for a couple months, I don't know if his stock is as high as it used to be.
He was, I don't know. He's posting his film and stuff on Twitter, which is generally a bad sign. So hopefully he lands somewhere. But yeah,
I hope so, because otherwise, like, reclassifying will go down as a generationally bad move.
Well, I don't want to jump ahead, because who knows? Like, we could be talking and there will be a headline where it's like Georgia wants him too. But this is where I worry that some players just play themselves and are way too quick to move on from situations. And I'm not saying he should have stayed at UCF or whatever, but it's like, there is not a lot of interest for a quarterback who is young and has no play, like really no meaningful tape, who's looking for a third school. Like, that's not a market that tends to do well. And it's just, I don't know why you put yourself in that situation.
I can't wait for a team to reach out to him and be like, look, we were looking at the very little film that you do have, and your running back fumbled on those couple drives. Like, I don't know if we can bring you in. We might do it. Might be what Florida State's thoughts. Imagine he goes to Florida State.
That would be
funny.
Tommy
and Tommy Castellanos both in the room with Gus.
It wouldn't shock me. I don't know. I'm really rooting on Florida State's downfall this year, and it's not like I have like real anger toward Gus. I think I just need it.
Yeah, I did say that on the draft show as well. As I said, I don't think people like understand how funny this Florida State season is going to be, and I said, like, probably not for you Florida State fans out there, but like, I think this has the potential to be a very funny season.
It's like a disease that just spreads, because it's like Auburn fans were adamant, and like the day Gus was announced laid out the reasons it wasn't going to work. And you can listen to probably 50 plus episodes of this podcast where I contest that and call them bitter fans. And like, you just kind of had to live it. And now we're doing the same thing. Like, and FSU fans are saying the same stuff that we were saying in 2021. And it's just like, it's like I'm trying with all my might. I have the premonition. I know the car crash is coming. I'm trying to stop it. Don't drive. Like, don't do it. Turn right on the road. And it's like they just won't listen. Like, it's like I feel like we've taken it on.
Do you think it probably won't, because there aren't any good memories to go back to. But I think there was a weird thing with Auburn fans at a certain point where, like, after Gus left, they were like, yeah, you guys are going to hate Gus, blah, blah, blah. This is why it's not going to work. But then things went so bad for Auburn after he was gone. They were like, oh, like, we kind of wish he would come back. I don't think UCF fans are going to get to that point, because we didn't have the highs that Auburn fans did.
But he was fired at Auburn for not that bad. Like, they'd had a ranked season. Were they ranked the year they fired him, or was it the year before?
I think so. I think it might have been the year before.
Yeah, and it was the COVID season. So it was like they never really had low lows with him. Like, he took over a program that was, this is so cool. We're 45 minutes in and haven't gotten to like the main thing we're going to talk about on this podcast, but he took over a program that was coming off its best era ever. And there were extenuating circumstances, but he left at 4-8. And it's just like, that leaves such a, and it's not even just like some coaches win, some coaches don't. It happens. I think part of what made the Gus era so difficult is going to make it so difficult to look back on is just the sheer number of wildly stupid things that happened over the 4 years. Like it was just like, it wasn't just that they didn't win. It was, they found fascinating ways to lose. And like,
that should be a podcast idea in June.
The most unhinged things that happen under Gus.
Yeah, let's relive like.
We have to do that.
Let's do it.
We have to.
Some people are gonna hate it, but I don't care.
That's gonna get like 4 of you are gonna listen to that, but it's gonna be so much fun to pick like the 10 most. Already so many are like bubbling.
I know some games are already flashing through my head, much less like little instances of dumb things that happened.
Where do you rank there's so many different ways you can go. 35-7 lost to Baylor is a big one, but do you do small ones? Like is Timmy McClain sidestepping 15 yards out of bounds, like losing 15 yards? Like, I don't know. There's just so many.
But you're going to say starting the quarterback we're not going to talk about instead of like knowing he was hurt and then like immediately pulling him for Timmy. Or the other one that came right into my mind was the Navy game 2021. Mikey gets you all the way down the field for the potential game-winning drive. Then you take him out on, was it second down or third down for Joey Gatewood?
and then just killed the drive.
Yep, kills the drive completely.
We don't talk enough about that because the other thing that happened after
we're going to though. That's the thing. We don't talk about it enough, but we're
also
going to.
Just because we're going to have to. We're gonna have to lift the moratorium on the name for that podcast. We're gonna have to. But
we probably will.
That Kansas game, but we don't talk enough about that too. Is after the game, Gus did a post-game presser where he threw him under the bus for not staying out there. When I'm watching him on my screen, the man cannot walk. The man is in at quarterback and cannot walk. Like he goes to try to scramble and ends up just bunny hopping and then getting decked. And Gus is just like, get back out there. Like it was just so insane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Portal additions for this cycle so far.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Virginia Tech quarterback Davi Belfort is the quarterback they brought in to, I guess, replace Dylan Risk in the room. So they have 4 now. Limestone offensive lineman Owen Spell, FAU defensive back Jaden Williams, Bethune-Cookman defensive tackle Justin LaFontant, I think, hopefully, and Chattanooga wide receiver Chris Dummerkamp was like right before we got on the podcast. He was the latest. So anyone you want to talk about in particular first?
I guess start with Davi. I feel like that's where I don't really know how to say his last name, so we're just going to call him Davi from now on. Continuing our long lineage of not really knowing how to pronounce any of these quarterbacks' names. I mean, really, guys, we're like 0 for 9. Like we've never gotten it right, ever. But yeah, I'm a little perplexed. Maybe this will age badly. Many things I've said have. I'm a little perplexed by the fan base reaction. There was more hype than I was anticipating for what I thought seemed to pretty clearly be they just needed a fourth body for the room. I was surprised. There was I don't think you're going to be seeing, unless Gus comes back and is making these calls, I don't think you're going to see him start a game this year for UCF.
I don't think so, but would you be surprised?
Yes, I would.
I don't know if I would.
He's the classic, this guy is not, that sounds so harsh. He's the classic, this guy is not going to be anything. When you look at his trajectory, he was a mid to high rated 3-star in the portal. He is a redshirt freshman now. I was reading about him on Virginia Tech's 247 site. He was going to be third string. He was behind. It was like a sort of a 2-way race, but kind of a three-way race with him. By the end of spring, he was going to be third string. He was also at risk of being surpassed by 2 new freshmen they'd brought in addition to the 2 ahead of him. None of that signals to me coming in and suddenly beating out these other guys to contribute. Now, the devil's advocate will be that no one has emerged in this quarterback.
Right. The bar is not that high for him to clear.
And who knows? Maybe
that's why I'm saying
Virginia Tech sucks at this, and he's actually secretly awesome. But he's also not that young. This will be year 3 for him. I don't know. They had to get another quarterback. Nothing about that signaled to me he's a contender for this job.
The reason I say I wouldn't be surprised is because the bar is not that high for him to clear. Like if he has a good summer in the weight room and fall camp and all that, he could not necessarily start week 1, but I think he could be maybe in the mix at some point. The other reason is I don't know this because I haven't gotten to watch him play or anything. I don't know a lot about him, but maybe the system fit. There was something there with McKenzie or Frost that they really liked the way he could fit in the system. And maybe he fits the system better than any of these guys who haven't separated at all. So I don't know that, and I'm just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard here to get with my just throwing the dartboard itself. I can't be bothered with this. But I don't know. He could. I just don't know that he will. But yeah, there was a lot of fanfare around it. But part of it, I wonder if it's like his family and like just overall his name. Like I feel like people knew who he was for different reasons.
Yeah, sure. And like the NFL Brazil account tweeted about him.
Yeah.
With UCF. I mean, and Orlando does have like a huge Brazilian community, so I get it. And I feel like that was probably. It sounds like that was like one of the big factors for him coming here. And we'll see. It'd be cool. I wasn't expecting whoever they brought in to move my take on the quarterback contest, and he did not. Yeah.
I've been in the same boat, but again, like that's why I say I wouldn't be surprised just because of the state of the competition itself. But
right.
Honestly, like the rest of these guys, I don't know a ton. I mean, obviously some of these came in while I was doing other things. So are these other guys anything to like get excited about? Because they seem like some decent players, but I mean, the wide receiver, the newest one, Chris Domerkamp, they just added from Chattanooga, decent production last year, but
which he's the one I know the least about because that admittedly happened like 2 minutes before we started recording. So don't know a ton about him. But yeah, that's solid production at a lower level. The FCS guys are kind of crapshoots. Like that's translated well for UCF in the past on both sides of the ball. So we'll see. And they need wide receiver help. Some of these were, I mean, listen, let's just call it what it is, guys. This is not like you look at these guys and you look at the other offers they're getting when they hit the portal. It's not, in a lot of cases, it's not any other Power 4 teams. And it's at most like one or two. Like I look at like someone like Connor Meadows, who came in that was last week, but his other offers were like Temple, Bowling Green, Wake Forest, Old Dominion. That's kind of all these guys. I don't know what to make of that. And I'm until they fail, which they might, I'm giving Frost the benefit of the doubt of his whole first 2 years here, can't speak today, guys, was finding all these guys who you've never heard of and who no one had any kind of interest in, and he brings them in, and then they're like NFL draft caliber players. So I'm a little hesitant to just jump back in and say that's what this is, because that was an entirely different staff last time, and I have no illusions that it was just Frost alone in a room being like, yeah, I like that guy. But I do think there's something to be said of like, this is a spring portal window. We know that UCF just had to spend a lot of money retaining some of these guys. And like, is this the year to spend big? Like, is there any value in that? Like, you know,
they spent the money where they should, you know, presumably, because think about it. Like going into this portal window, what would you say their biggest need would have been? Like, where would you have wanted them to spend a lot of money?
Like if they had the money to spend?
I guess so, yeah. But I'm just saying, like in general, say you don't have to worry about retention and those guys were going to stay anyway.
Okay.
Like the money they do have, where are you going to spend it? Because when I looked at the roster at the end of spring, not that it's the greatest roster ever,
right?
But like I think most of the starting caliber players, or just guys in place to start right now, are not going to be beaten out by most people you would go out and get in the spring portal.
And that's the thing people have to understand is outside of like a handful of guys at the very top of spring, like the spring portal, it's why it's going away. Like it's mostly guys like who we saw leaving UCF. It's mostly guys who have not caught on or looking for somewhere where they can try to play. And I would have probably said like wide receiver or like offensive line. And honestly, but like we talked about, like Frost even said it in his final spring access. He was like, they don't have a glaring need anywhere. And I think that's probably true. I don't think they're set anywhere, but I don't think it's not like linebacker going into 2024 or something where it was like, they have to address this or it's going to be a nightmare. So I don't know. And I like some of these kids.
It's both like not only that, but it's also, and I guess this is kind of the pessimistic way to look at it, and they're probably not looking at it this way, but it's not like this team, and maybe they are looking at it this way. This team is not like a wide receiver away from being Big 12 contenders.
No.
Like they're not a pass rusher or a corner away from being really, really good. I think like there are so many like, I guess, perceived needs or like question marks across the entire roster that you can't really narrow down like one that you need to go spend all this money on. So like it's kind of like, let's just add some more guys into the mix with whatever we can. Focus on keeping the guys we have in the building now, and then see how it goes. Because like I don't know. I guess that's the way I'm reading it.
It's also just like rev share is about to come through. Presumably the house settlement's in trouble again. It's rev share is about to come through in July. They're still trying to get that funded for next season. Like I don't know. Like with what 2025 is supposed to be, I don't see the value in like doing what they did last year, where let's spend all this money and hit up our boosters nonstop and try to build this Big 12. Like it's not going to be that. You don't have the bones of that right now. So like, there's no value in spending all this money on all these guys that are going to be here for a year, because even guys who are not, seniors, it's like, we've seen how this goes. Like, they'll be gone a year anyway. So it's whatever, but they still picked up like Jaden Williams from FAU, the DB. He's a redshirt junior. He didn't play in a game after mid-October last year. So I'm assuming there was some kind of injury, but going into that,
injury or opt out or something.
Yeah, I don't even know. I couldn't find an article about like why that was the case, but he had 2 picks, 26 tackles, fumble recovery. He was a team captain, like new Mac McWilliams. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the wide receiver they just brought in, Chris Dahmerkant. He seems like he might be fine. LaFontant, if that's how we say that. Another one where he played in 4 games last year for Bethune-Cookman. 4 games, but in the 4 games he had 18 tackles, 3 TFLs, and 2 sacks. So like, okay, don't know why he only played in 4, but that's nice.
That's what makes me wonder, like, is that an opt-out? Like, was he like, I had a really good 4 games, let me keep this year of eligibility and go play somewhere else?
The 8 is weird. Crazy. The 4 is suspicious. The 4 is like, I'm cooking and I will be cooking elsewhere next year. So, yeah. So it's like, I don't like hate all of these. It's just so night and day from where we were a year ago, where it's like every day there's like roll out the red carpet because I can't believe they landed this guy transfer. Like they did that nonstop last year. And it didn't work. So, I get it. But I also do wonder if there's just booster fatigue. Like, even though it's a new staff, like, these guys don't forget. Like, it's like if I was a booster for UCF or a shareholder or whatever, and I had, whether it's Gus or it's Frost, and they're coming up saying, we got to have this guy. I just need another like $50K from you to get us over the top. And be like, I just did this last year with like 15 guys and you went 4-8. Like, I'm not like, I'm going to go spend it on a boat instead. Like, I don't know. I get it. So we'll see. I just, like I said, I'm going to keep hammering home my personal take that I feel is accurate is this is not year 1 of Frost. This is year 0, because it was just like a duct tape roster. Let's figure out what they can do and we'll see what happens next year. And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah. And I know I still kind of want to do a recruiting podcast at some point, but I think just with tying it into the portal conversation, like with Walt Clare being gone, with Andrew Harris being gone, like we're seeing fewer and fewer of those highly rated recruits that we got so excited about under Gus are still here. Like who were like the big ones? I mean, I know John Walker's obviously still around and going to be like one of the key parts of the defense. Same with Braden Marshall, the Hendersons, I guess. And
UCF signed 7 4-star players under Gus. 4 of them are no longer on the roster. The 3 still here are Kylan Fox, Isaiah Nixon, and John Walker.
I was just about to ask about Isaiah Nixon. I couldn't remember if he was still around or not.
Yeah. Nakai Martinez, Andrew Harris, Quay Birdsong, and Walt Clare Flynn are all gone already. I mean, the 2023 class is gone. Like that class is that class is no longer here. Like it is crazy how quickly that stuff turned over, and it's a coaching change. That's what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we'll do a high school recruiting podcast at some point when it makes sense. But I'm stressed about that. It's not. I don't perceive that as something that's going well for UCF right now. It's kind of shocking the level of guys they're going after, and I can't hold on to this is what Frost did the first time take forever, because I just don't buy that you can do that in the Power 4. I don't. Right. And we'll see. Like I'm not saying they have to go sign what Gus signed, because I get that didn't work and I get it was expensive. Spends a lot of money on a lot of guys who never played, and I understand why that's not ideal, but like you can't pull we're just gonna, we're gonna give money to the guys who deserve it. You got to get the guys who deserve it in the door in the first place. Yeah. And I'm not convinced. It's early in the cycle. It's very early, but I'm not convinced they're doing that right now. It's wild, the level of guys they're going after.
We don't really have time for this, but that's one of the things that was so insane about that Gus era was let's spend all this money, and it's very expensive to do so to get this level of high school classes in. And then let's just go spend also more money on transfer portal guys to play over them anyway. Like it's like you said like the phrase like paid all these guys all this money and they never even played. That was their own fault. Like that was Gus's staff's fault for saying like let's just go out and recruit over them and waste money.
It was so it just felt like Gus had like shiny new toy vibes, right? Like it was like every window was an opportunity. And that's fine, and it's true. But I give him grace and a lot of coaches grace because the portal was brand new. I remember that first year we were so dumb because we'd never seen it before. It was 2021, and we go, well, this team it was old college football. We'd never seen anything like this. And I'm like, yeah, man, if they just had like a couple linebackers, a receiver, like another offensive lineman, like I'd be feeling really good about this team. Too bad they don't have that. Then the portal opens and Gus goes and gets those things, and I go, oh, hey, he got those things. I guess they're going to go 12-0. And we just didn't understand how much of a crapshoot it is and how every other team is doing that as well. And I just think that he always was focused on how can we upgrade the roster right now. And you got in situations where you had young guys who probably would have been better off just playing them, but you recruit over them, and that's just it.
I think immediately we're like, oh, it's just going to be like NFL free agency where like teams go out and address their needs through free agency. They sign, if you need a linebacker, you'll get a linebacker. And while that was true, I think maybe I was guilty of it too. Like, we forgot that not every NFL team's free agency window is successful.
Yeah.
Like, they go out and like, I can speak from experience, and just other teams, like, they'll go out and sign all these guys, spend all this money in the offseason, and still go 7-9. Like, it doesn't matter all the time. And I don't know why this just clicked for me now, but that's where I'm like, oh, maybe this is like basically like NFL free agency, where it doesn't always work, and it's not always going to.
I also thought it was very, very interesting. I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but the vast majority of first-round picks in this year's NFL draft were guys who had never transferred, which was, it was like almost all of them, which was particularly shocking just because of how like common transferring is. Like, the majority of players will transfer. Like, it's very rare now to see a player, but to see the guys who actually are the best of the best, they don't do that. That's interesting.
Player retention money.
And now that's the thing, because I think some people took it as like, well, if they're in the portal, they must suck. I do think part of it is these are programs where most 5-stars are going to programs where they have the money to keep them there. But I don't know. I get the Frost take that he talked about when he came in of like, you want to keep the high school guys, you want the money to be for that. And when you look around college football and who's having success right now, with a few like rare, not the case for the vast majority of them, it is schools that are investing heavily in high school. Mm-hmm. And they are supplementing with the portal. So I'm fine with them moving to that. I don't know. I'm just like, where's the money? Where's the money? The transfers don't seem good, and the high school recruits don't seem good. Yeah. So I'm just like, where's the money going?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Like you said, maybe it's really year zero, and some boosters are hesitant to throw more money, and they need to see something work a little bit this year. And they're like, all right, okay, we've got something to work with, rather than blindly throwing money in to a program in a perceived year zero. Yeah, I get that, but
I get that too.
We'll get a lot more into all that kind of stuff as the summer goes on, like we said, but we can move on. Don't really have any football news. We talked about all the portal stuff there. I'll move to game of the week. Game of the week, UCF softball, their final series of the regular season. They are 29, 21-1, 9-12 in the Big 12. They're currently 8th in the conference. They're playing at Kansas, not best of three, a 3-game series, Friday at 6, Saturday at 3, and Sunday at 1. Kansas is just below them at 21-24, 6-15 in the Big 12. UCF's RPI is very high, and I think they're probably, I haven't seen the projections this week or anything, but I would imagine they might be right inside the right side of the bubble, or maybe just on the bubble. And playing a team that's 21-24, 6-15, like, if they can get a sweep, if they finish this weekend and go into the conference tournament at 32-21-1, 12-12 in the Big 12, that feels like a really strong, they already have a strong resume as it is, but that feels a little stronger than, they obviously need to get to the 30 wins, and it would be nice to be 12-12 in Big 12 play. But
yes,
we'll see. Tweet of the week.
Tweet of the week. Tweet of the week this week is unusual. It is unusual in that it is a tweet that I'm not making fun of. It's a tweet that I adored. So I just wanted to throw a spotlight on it. This has nothing to do with UCF athletics whatsoever. So just gear up for that. Bailey, how familiar are you with this stupid Savannah Bananas nonsense?
I'm familiar.
I'd never heard of this until maybe a month ago in my life. And it was when they went to Tampa.
Yeah, that surprised me at the time.
I've never heard of these people, and they did it again. They went to you see this? They were at Clemson Stadium, 81,000 people. I hate everything about this. I don't even like baseball when it's real. And I saw a tweet that I really connected with. This is Callan Fullerton, who tweeted, and I just feel like this is where I'm at. He tweeted, "The Savannah Bananas would never be fun for me. Sports are not about neat little tricks. Sports are about hate."
I did see that.
I was an early adopter of that tweet. That thing had like 100 likes when I saw it. It's at 23,000 now. And I just have to say that clarified a lot of things for me and where I stand as a human being, because I realized he's right. And I think that is part of why I hate the Savannah Bananas. And I thought about my experience as a sports fan, and it is about hate. Like, when UCF is good, I'm not happy because UCF is good. I'm happy because I get to tell other fan bases how much better my team is than theirs. Like, is there anything that brings you more joy than watching the failure of the teams you hate? Like, isn't that what it really is about at the end of the day?
Kind of. Like, it's a newer one because I don't care that much about the NBA normally, but like, if somebody can come along and beat the Celtics, I will be just as happy as probably if the Magic had won multiple games in this series.
I would be happy if they'd won multiple games in this series, which they still theoretically could.
They still could, yeah, they still could. But no, I get that.
To occur, but yeah, I do think that sports at the end of the day are about hate, and I think it's good that we normalize that. So I just want to throw some love on that tweet.
I have two things to say in rebuttal to this.
Okay.
One, I agree But 2, I don't think anyone considers this what the Savannah Bananas are doing as a sport, as sports.
It's definitely, it's in a stadium and there's
It's
a ball.
sports adjacent. It's like,
It's in a stadium
do
and
you
there's
also
a ball.
hate the Harlem Globetrotters? Because that's
I'm not a fan
basically
of that.
okay. That's, at least you're consistent. But people are going to this not to see who wins the game. It's like they're going to it for a show.
That's stupid to me. And frankly, the fact that you're getting 81,000 people to watch fake baseball is just like, I don't
think people are going to watch baseball. They're going to watch a show. They're going to watch people dance and sing along and watch bits, basically.
Okay, then go to medieval times. Like, this is so, I think it's okay for me to think this is really stupid. Like, there are things that I think are stupid, but I understand that wrestling, I think is the dumbest thing in the world. But I understand that, like, for other people, it's fun, and I'm okay with that. I'm not.
That's what I'm surprised. Like, I don't get how you can't see how some people. Like, I don't fault you for not finding like fun in it or wanting to go like see it, but I don't see how you don't get the appeal for some other people.
I think where I'm at, well, it's just my superiority complex, but I think where I'm at is like something like wrestling, like WWE. Not for me, but I don't judge people who partake in that.
Okay.
Savannah Bananas as a concept, I feel needs to be eliminated. Like, it's not enough for me to not be a part of it. This should be stopped. This is so stupid.
This is
81,000 people for fake baseball.
It's very weird. But the other thing is, because that tweet, I don't know, I'm not going to say they stole any of this or borrowed it. It's a fair concept that you can reach the conclusion yourself. But I have this tweet bookmarked just to bring up at random points. I was a hockey fan that actually tweeted it back on New Year's Eve of all time. New Year's Eve 2024 at 7:21 p.m. tweeted, "Sports are better when you have hate in your heart." And I think about that tweet a lot.
It is true, though.
Yeah.
Someone needs to make like a sports movie that's really just about the hate, because sports movies are always so uplifting and like he overcame something, and it's like, no, it needs to be about like seeing your hate fulfilled. I really think is what it's about. Like one of my favorite things about UCF being in the Power Four is USF not being in the Power Four. It's true, though.
I was just about to make a really bad example, but even still, no, I think this actually probably, I don't know how you can say this, backs that point up even better, is last year's World Series. Like, I wasn't happy that the Dodgers won because like I didn't want to see the Dodgers rewarded for spending billions and billions of dollars. But the fact they beat the Yankees, I was happy to see the Dodgers win the World Series because they beat the Yankees. Like, I was rooting for the Dodgers, who are by all like everybody else's standards are like the evil people of the sport, but it's the Yankees and I hate the Yankees. So I was so happy.
Made me think about like the Chiefs and the Super Bowl. And this is what this is an even greater point of why he's right and why all these tweets are right. We embrace greatness in sports with hate. Like whenever a team or a player transcends to a level we have not seen before or is beyond what we are comfortable with, we embrace them with our hate. That's what we give them. Sports is about hate.
I agree with this. That's what I'm saying. I had two responses to it because I agree with that, but I don't like. I find going to the Savannah Bananas as entertainment, almost adjacent to wrestling or adjacent to like going to a play or a musical. Like you're not going for the sports. Like it is sports adjacent, but you're not going to watch like, oh, let's go watch for the baseball.
Okay, I just had a great idea for a podcast, but really quickly, I just have to respond to that again and say, Bailey, it's in a stadium. They're in uniforms. There's a ball. There's bats. Like they are trying to be sports, and it's stupid. I have a great idea for a podcast.
If they're trying to be sports, if it's not about who wins, like no one goes like, oh yes, the Bananas won tonight.
It's not about who wins when New Hampshire comes to play UCF. It's still sports.
No, that is not the same thing at all.
I love that we're having a full-on Savannah Bananas argument on this podcast. I just got a great podcast idea. This is another one. We're filling out the summer slate here in real time. It's going to replace the transfer draft because I'm feeling itchy for a draft, and we didn't get to have the transfer draft due to us not wanting to do it.
We didn't get to oh man, circumstances made it so.
I want to do a hate draft. I want each of us to draft things that UCF fans hate, and we'll each have 2 lists, and we'll put it on Twitter, and people have to vote on which list they hate more. Like you could draft USF, you could draft Gus Malzahn, anything.
Which things they hate more?
A UCF hate list. We have to draft.
But wouldn't they like the list more technically?
Which list do you hate the more? Like where is the hate in your heart being directed when you see these lists?
Okay.
I want to do this. I think this could be fun.
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna start putting together my draft board tonight.
You want to just stay on? Let's do it right now. Go another hour.
No. I'm ready
draft.
to go.
I'm actually super excited for this. Okay, this will be fun.
I'm already at a disadvantage for some reason because I feel like this is your idea. So like you've already got things in your brain.
I also think, and I'm not saying this is good, but I do think I have more hate in my heart than you do. So I feel like that might work in my favor.
You think you do? All right. That's crazy. All right. We'll be getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with episode 267. Until then, you can find us on Twitter at BaileyJAdams22, at @ByCASimmons, at Night Sports Now, and at Pegasus Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We will talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.